LeBron's essentially been a point guard his entire career. Even when playing with Kyrie Irving, he would bring the ball up the court very often. He would initiate the offense. I love this move potentially. The reason you do this is so you have more positional flexibility up and down the lineup, and because you don't have any great option in the traditional point guard sense. There's, to go bottom to top on the roster, there's Alex Caruso, who actually played well in limited minutes last year, but he can't be a starting point guard. There's Cook, who they brought in, obviously, Quinn Cook from Golden State, who is a knockdown shooter, but he's a limited defender. He needs to be your 8th man, your 9th man if you're a really good team. And then there's the guy who I was afraid was going to be the starting point guard, the single least effective player on the Lakers all of last season from a plus-minus standpoint, from a on-court, off-court with LeBron standpoint, Rajon Rondo. One of those three guys was going to have to be your point guard unless LeBron stepped in and actually filled that role. So I love this for the Lakers. Now, what they do with the rest of their starting lineup, does this mean Anthony Davis plays the 5 like I think he should in that starting lineup? That is yet to be seen. But these are the types of moves, see, that now the coaching staff has to figure out. One of the dominoes that fell when Kawhi doesn't pick the Lakers is this coaching staff that has a lot of experience on it, Lionel Hollins, Jason Kidd, Frank Vogel, but not a ton of success, is going to have a lot of complicated questions lineup-wise. Who starts the game? Who closes the game? What is our best unit? How many shooters do we need on the court with LeBron? Who guards the opposing team's point guard? Because that's something LeBron is not going to be doing throughout the regular season. Those are questions yet to be answered, but at first blush, LeBron as a point guard, I think makes a ton of sense.
The first time you ever saw LeBron James play basketball, if it was in high school or if it was the first year he was in Cleveland, you would know that he had unusual ability to be able to find people, to understand passing lanes, to understand the game. Besides his unselfishness, it's probably his most dominant skill. I know people look at his body and his overall durability. Yes, that's been a tremendous asset. But his ability to understand passing lanes and understand how you set up offenses, that, to me, has been one of LeBron James's biggest skills that he's been able to have. Eventually, he was going to be able to move to point guard. But the thing with LeBron, and one of the issues or problems, is he got so many skills. We could move him, if we wanted to go small, we could move him to the 4. He could play power forward. He can play point guard. He can play the wing. He's done all these things throughout his career. But what's best for the Lakers is for him to be the point guard. And I believe, Nick, you talked about that coaching staff. The coaching staff's going to have to juggle not only some veteran players with some younger players on that bench, but they're going to have to juggle the personality of Rondo and Boogie Cousins. Traditionally, they have been starters.
Yes.
They probably, at this point in their career, still don't want to come off the bench for a number of different reasons. But if they can convince them that it's best for the team for those two to lead their bench, their team got a lot better. And Anthony Davis, at this time in his career, I pointed out yesterday, he's always said he didn't want to play the 5. The NBA is totally different now.
Right.
There's not a whole bunch of centers, and it's to their advantage. Regardless, he's not a center, but for him to play the 5, especially starting out these games, even though him and Boogie Cousins will share some minutes on the court, I believe that's the best lineup for the Lakers starting out.
I know we're placing a lot of emphasis on LeBron playing point guard, but how important is the starting lineup? Is the starting lineup the finishing lineup? Is the one that we're going to see all season long? Is it, created in cement?
Well, so listen, so it's not created in cement, but people say this a lot. It's not, and you hear this in high school ball all the time. Don't worry if you're not a starter. It's not who starts, it's who finishes. And I understand that teams, the Warriors, throughout their run, very often did not start. In fact, almost never started Andre Iguodala, but he closed games. But listen, some of the guys, Lakers Film Room is a great Twitter account that I follow, and the guy who runs it pointed this out, and it's a really good point. When you look at the end of the year, what lineups play the most minutes? For every team, it's their starting lineup. That 5-man lineup will play 2.5 to 3 times more minutes than any other 5-man lineup on the team. And all minutes aren't exactly equal, but all minutes count. And if you're going to have a starting lineup that does not give you the best chance to win, the best chance to be effective, you're putting yourself at a deficit. So, Chris, to your point, you're right that the league's different than when Anthony Davis came into the league. One of the reasons he didn't want to play center, I believe, is the physical wear and tear of having to bang down low with big bodies.
Yes.
How many teams have a Joel Embiid that's going to make you bang down low every night?
Only a handful.
Right. Only two. There's only one Embiid. There's only 2 or 3 guys similar to him. The best lineup for the Lakers is LeBron at point, Danny Green at the shooting guard, Kyle Kuzma at the 4, AD at the 5, and someone at the 3. I would argue Avery Bradley, the guy they picked up yesterday, because Avery Bradley can guard the opposing team's point guard. If they go with what I think a lot of people expect them to do, which is that one on the right with either Kuzma or Bradley in that third spot, if they go with Kuz, then without Bradley out there, with Boogie out there, then who guards the opposing team's point guard? It's a real question.
So then I ask you this. Is LeBron James at point the best chance for the Lakers to win? If they had other pieces, is that where you'd want him?
Well, I think LeBron's ability to play the point, he's going to get everyone the shots they need in the spots that they need. It's a dilemma that they have to face. What do we go with? Do we go with LeBron at the point, or do we turn it over to Rondo, which I don't believe the team is going to be as efficient? It becomes an issue. But they need to concentrate on that second unit. That first unit's going to take care of itself. And if Boogie Cousins plays the way that he should play, if he plays the way he played at the end of the season, not the way after he tore his quad, then he could earn his way back into that starting lineup. But starting off, they should start off. I like Nick's proposal, even though yesterday I talked about Anthony Davis not wanting to play. You've seen Anthony Davis is going to make concessions. He did that with the signing bonus, with the trade bonus that he had. LeBron's done that, giving him the number. These are the types of things that allow you the flexibility to make you a better basketball team if you're in pursuit of a championship, which everyone on that roster, right now they got 14 players on that roster. They're looking for one more player. If everyone's trying to win the championship, then it should be on the board that LeBron is going to play the point and AD is going to play it center.
Well, and if you start AD and Boogie with LeBron at the point guard spot, all of a sudden the lane's jam-packed. You're not open. You don't have enough shooters. There's an element of what do we know works with LeBron? Spreading the court, finding shooters, and it is about managing Boogie's ego and convincing him you can be the star in your role as the leading offensive force for that bench unit.
I think we should give Boogie Cousins benefit of the doubt because you mentioned something earlier when we were talking. Is this the Boogie Cousins that we thought after he came back from the injury, which we thought, man, 16 points a game, he's pretty efficient. When he tore his quad, he was a different athlete in the playoffs. Are we holding him pushing himself back from an injury that we didn't think he was going to make it back for and holding that against him compared to the Boogie Cousins who came back from the Achilles and was very effective playing with the Warriors during the regular season?
If I had never seen Boogie take the court again after he tore his quad, I'd feel better about him. And so we talked about it this morning. It's a good point. Am I holding against him that he fought his way back knowing he was only going to be 40%? Because at that last month of the regular season, he was 20-11. He was playing well.
But what you saw in the playoffs,
it didn't look like he could jump over this coffee cup. Now, if that was just because he shouldn't have been out there and he was trying to fight his way to help his team, then I probably shouldn't hold that against him. We won't know that until November.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.